love movie and movie discussions, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am The Wiz. And for this week, I am reviewing the 2007 Wes Anderson film, The Darjeeling Limited, starring Jason Schwatzmann, Adrien, Brody, and Owen Wilson. Yep, it is still Wes Anderson week, and we reviewed Isle of Dogs, Me and Zero on Tuesday, and today I'm reviewing a Wes Anderson film that I have yet to see. I'm surprised I haven't seen this yet, and I'm not entirely sure as to why I haven't. I guess it's just one of those things where I intend to see it, but just never gotten around to it. I really don't have a good reason, to be completely honest. I don't know why I haven't seen this film yet, so I have, so let's review it. And let's get to the review of The Darjeeling Limited, starring Jason Schwartzman, Adrien, Brody, and Owen Wilson, directed by Wes Anderson. So let's get to the plot real quick. This is about three brothers who are traveling through India by a train called the Darjeeling Limited in an attempt to bond with each other again. The one brother, played by Owen Wilson, Francis, went through a horrible accident, and he wants the brothers to get back into how close they were. Adrien Brody's character, Peter, a wife at home who is pregnant, and he's got feelings about that. And Jason Schwartzman's Jack is going through his own kind of crisis. Mostly is just womanizing. That's the basic shtick of the plot. This is probably one of Wes Anderson's better films. It is not as funny and not as visually interesting as his others, but in the last 30 minutes of the film, it was surprisingly touching. But yeah, it's strangely touching in a way that I think Wes Anderson films usually aren't. Like, it's very emotionally resonant that I wasn't expecting in this. Okay, so let's get into performances. I think the three main actors are very good. Owen Wilson is probably the best of the three. He seems to have a much more of a grip on his character and the way that he is messed up in a way. It's kind of hard to recognize if he still has some brain damage or if he's just going through something emotionally, but I think he teeters that line very well throughout the film. I don't have a problem with the other two either. Adrien Brody is very good as the brother Peter in this, going through his stuff. And then I think I was less impressed with Schwartzman, although I'm not saying it's a bad performance. It's pretty good, but I couldn't buy him so much as a womanizer, really. Maybe it's the baby face, or maybe it's the way he carries himself in the film. I just don't see that type of person in him who has that kind of charisma to pull off being a womanizer. Now, that'd be funny if I come to find that he is a renowned womanizer in real life, so that would be kind of funny. Maybe not. But yeah, I didn't buy him as not like a repugnant womanizer, but someone who looks to get laid whenever he gets a chance. Writing. I gotta be honest, for the first hour, it's kind of standard Wes Anderson stuff. Very pointed comedy, some stilted dialogue that is strangely charming in its own way, married with the direction. It's what I expect from Wes Anderson, but it's in the last 30 minutes of the film where I think the movie really shines and gets into a very emotional resonance that I really wasn't expecting when the end came. You gradually get to that point, but there's a sequence in the film that in most films I would say would be kind of forced, but I guess because Anderson's style is to be a tad forced in the way he does his films when it comes to dialogue and when he expresses emotions in his characters, I think it just kind of fits very well with this film. And what they do at the end is, again, strangely emotionally resonant in a way that I wasn't expecting. My thing is, like, I had an emotional reaction to the Royal Tenenbaums, but not in the way I think I was expecting at the time. But it was still a very good dramatic film. I think Darjeeling Limited is better as a drama in this, but I don't think there's enough to actually overtake what the Royal Tenenbaums did. Like, the Royal Tenenbaums is a masterpiece in a different league, but I think the Darjeeling Limited does a few things better that Royal Tenenbaums does, but Royal Tenenbaums does more stuff better than I would say Darjeeling in this. And I think that's mainly because Darjeeling Limited is an hour and 30 minutes. It's not that long of a film. It is a very slight film. When you get to the second half of the film, it just feels like the film is just rushing through everything. And on the one hand, I do appreciate a film that is good, that is also very short. But on the other, I kind of wish there was more to what was going on, but I don't know how much it would have helped to add more stuff into the film. I think the big thing about this film that is very good is the direction by Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson really knows how to shoot a scene with his live action films, especially around this time. He was really good at framing a scene and executing it the way his unique vision is like. And I think this is one of his better ones. I still think Royal Tenenbaums is better in this than the visuals that he uses all throughout India and in the train is really good and just very visually striking in this movie. The use of colors, like deep blues, maybe some lighter browns, the way he uses the colors and lighting in this movie is really good in this. Then again, it's not some of my favorite visuals I've had with a Wes Anderson film, but it definitely is a very striking looking movie. And based on its visuals, I think it's very good. But also, the way he directs his films with the tone and everything matches the awkward, stilted dialogue in this. I think maybe awkward and stilted is not a fair comparison. It's really hard to describe his style, and I think that's the one thing I'm having a problem with the movies that we're reviewing this week, is that I can't pinpoint exactly his style that he has. Zero uses weird and unique in a way, but it is definitely unique, but it's just a different type of cadence that he has in his dialogue, that the actors and the way that he directs his film is done really well in this, and I think it's done especially well with the actors and the way that he directs this film. Okay, so final thoughts on the Darjeeling Limited. I actually very much like this film. It's not going to hit the top 3 for me on Wes Anderson films. I think it's still going to be Rushmore, Royal, and Budapest Hotel. But it goes right next to Budapest Hotel in this one. I'm giving this 3.5 out of 5. It is a visually interesting and, again, surprisingly emotionally resonant film that I was not expecting in this movie. I was expecting another quirky comedy, kind of like Rushmore, but this did a lot more than I was expecting in this. It doesn't reach those heights, but I think it is still a very solid, very good Wes Anderson film. If you haven't seen it and you're like me and you haven't given it a chance yet, you should. I think you should give it a shot. 3.5 stars out of 5 for me for the Darjeeling Limited. I'm glad I got to see this. This was a good movie.